Hello everyone and welcome back to the SteemTrail Gaming News. Today is the 10th of January 2018. My name is Kralizec and I will be your host for this evening. Today we got another 3 interesting pieces of news for you today. We're going to start with EA. Yay, more EA. Yeah, luckily it's been some time since we had to talk about EA's problems, but they're back. And they have a new matchmaking tool that might be used to influence you to do a bit more microtransactions. Secondly, we're going to talk about a Steam Spy report that will show us the number of games released on Steam this year. And last of all, I got a friend to do a few CPU tests for me because his system has been already patched for the Meltdown and Spectre problems that CPUs are currently having. Obviously this isn't a comprehensive test, but it is something. But let's begin with EA, as EA filed a new patent concerning matchmaking, and it seems its primary usage will be to encourage people to do a little bit more spending on microtransactions. Who would have guessed? So this isn't actually the first company that came under fire precisely for the same exact thing. Last year it was Activision that has caught some flack when it revealed that they had a patent that encouraged players to push microtransactions a little bit. But now, obviously EA couldn't leave Activision in this thing alone because money! Now, Electronic Arts have filed a patent actually in September of 2018, which is called the Multiplayer Video Game Matchmaking Optimization Algorithm, also known as Engagement Optimized Matchmaking, EOMM. And they claim this matchmaking system claims to keep players engaged in a game for longer. And it includes things like playstyle. That's okay. Sportsmanship, that's great. Skill, that's probably ideal in a matchmaking system. And the willingness to spend money that the algorithm takes into account. Yeah, I don't think the willingness to spend money should be something that the algorithm takes into account when it's deciding who you will pay against. Yeah, I said pay against deliberately, because that's exactly what this algorithm will do, in my opinion. You know, after all that bullshit that happened with Battlefront, with UFC, you would have thought that anybody at EA would have been like, oh fuck, we really cannot sustain another PR problem as we have already lost tons of money over our PR problems this year. But it seems a new year has come and they have a new budget they can lose over PR money. I really don't understand it. Is EA just completely dumb? Are they fucking stupid? Do they not understand anything about how humans work? Is that just some evil robot somewhere in the back who's like, money is most important, make everything around money? Is that literally what's happening in EA? I seriously have no clue. What people are actually pissed about is the fact that this algorithm should be used in the upcoming title Anthem, which was one of the few titles from EA that was actually looking really interesting this year. And unless they just decide to go against loot boxes, and unless they do a really totally awesomely fair system for microtransactions, people will be pissed. No, they won't be pissed. They will be shitting their pants with anger. That's what will happen, and I hope EA realizes it, because, you know, they used to make really good games. And they still make good games but they include a business model that is just shit. Hopefully they learn from this, and I will be able to report that Anthem actually has a good business model. But somehow, I'm skeptical. Okay, let's go to our second piece of news for today. Let's talk about a Steam Spy report that shows the number of games released on Steam last year. The number is actually 7,672 games released just in 2017. By the way, compared to 2016, this is a 3,000 games increase. Oh, actually, it's almost 3,400 more games have been released. Oh, it's actually more than that. I'm bad with math, sorry. But in 2016, it was 4,207 games. So that's 465? Yeah, 3,465 more games have been released in 2017 compared to 2016. And we can only expect this number to get higher with the fact that Steam Greenlight isn't a thing anymore. Right now it's just Steam Direct, which allows anybody to publish a game just for $100. So this is sort of good news and sort of bad news. It's good news in the fact that now we have more choices what we can actually play. The bad thing is it is now much harder to find good games on Steam. There's actually a chart released by Steam Spy. It's not from 2017, it's from 2016, that shows the percentages of games released by year. Again, it's a year old. But in 2004, there were 7 games released on Steam. In 2005, 6 games. 2006, 71. 2007, 112. 2008, 183. And the number starts, it's pretty much an exponential scale. You know, it starts small and it grows up and suddenly there's a spike. And we're currently where the spike begins. So we can only expect to see more and more games come to the PC. So unless you just want to go through tons of shitty little tiny games being released on Steam, you should really follow my blog as I try to do good reviews for you guys. Shilling is included for free. Now, obviously there are tons of good YouTubers and even news outlets if you prefer writing that you can find reviews for good games, whether you prefer AAA titles, AA titles, or small indie releases, or even, you know, those tiny 10-cent games that you play for 20 minutes and then discard them because they were fun for 20 minutes, but you will never ever play them again. Okay, and our last piece of news today was actually done for me by a friend. His system is already patched for Meltdown and Spectre, including the Windows and the BIOS update. To be more precise, he has an Intel Z370 motherboard and a Core i5 8600K. And the average results are not as bad as we actually thought, at least when it comes to normal usage. So, for example, in Cinebench, his previous result was 1024 points and 187 points, and his new results are 1003 points and 183. That's roughly a 2% decrease in performance. That's probably for rendering. Then we have some 7-zip when he was decompressing data. So before the update he had 27,572 points. Now with the update he has 27,118 points. That's again about a 2.5% decrease in performance. And then he did some little gaming tests for me. He actually only has 2 games installed in his system. I don't know how, but he does. The first one was in Battlefield 1. Where the average frames per second were 133 before the update and the minimum was 93. Now after the update it was 131 and 88. That's for the average. This is about a 1% decrease in performance for minimum, it's actually around a 5-6% performance decrease. There it's actually noticeable. Also, that was in 1080p. In 4K, the results were very minimal, as it is often the case, as there it's usually the GPU that's the bottleneck. And in GTA 5 in 1080p, before the update, his average results were 99 frames per second and 42 minimum. After the update, it's 98 and 41. That's 1%, maybe even within the margin of error, I would say. And in 4K, there it's totally the same, so there's no decreased performance there. And yeah, that's it. So you can see, I would say the average result for a normal person on modern hardware will be around 2 to 3% when doing regular stuff like reading stuff on the internet and maybe doing some light editing on your photos and playing games, as that's what most people do. But when it comes to servers, we actually heard from a few companies that results may go up to 50% in certain specific cases, especially when you're running a lot of servers. And those numbers are quite insane. There also was a statement released by Microsoft today that claimed on modern hardware, that means anything from Skylake and up in terms of Intel CPUs and Ryzen in terms of AMD CPUs, on Windows 10 you shouldn't really notice any performance drops for regular activities like browsing the internet, watching movies, and doing some light editing to your photos. For some older hardware on Windows 10, you should maybe sometimes expect to see some performance decreases. On Windows 8 with all the hardware, you should definitely expect some slowing down. And with Windows 7, yeah, they said it was Windows 8 and Windows 7 almost definitely. And for servers, it depends on how well the software is coded and whether the software itself will be updated. But you could probably expect a lot of hiccups there. And the biggest problem is you might be forced to switch software because the software you're using currently isn't issuing a patch that would actually protect. So, as we told previously, for normal PC users, this will not probably a problem. For power users, this will sometimes slightly affect them. And for companies, this will be a huge fucking deal. Sadly, well, not sadly, it's just, you know, a fact of thing. The largest money is actually from companies. So Intel and actually all the other chip makers are actually facing some big trouble, and they will need to fix this as soon as possible. What I really wonder, as there should be some new Ryzen chips coming out about a month or two, if these will be affected by these exploits as well. If not, those could sell like crazy, as Intel doesn't currently have any CPUs planned for release in the same time frame, and the next chips are pretty decently far away. And with that being said, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider giving us a like here on YouTube and subscribing to our channel. If you are watching this on Steam, maybe consider giving us an upvote and following our blog. Either way, leave a comment. We're always interested in your opinions. And be sure to tune in tomorrow, as we will be, again, your daily source of daily gaming news. And that's all. So, see you guys later with more gaming content.